Good morning, retailers. We're very thrilled to have you here today. This is a really cool event. We're gonna talk with Patrick O'Hagan, who is the executive producer for RPGs with WizKids, and we're gonna learn a lot about some of their upcoming products that are primarily geared towards enhancing your RPG experience. We know we're in the middle of a kind of a revival or a revitalization of the RPG industry. And things like miniatures and terrain accessories are an excellent way to both add on to sales for those kinds of product lines, as well as just to enhance the experience and give your players something extra to remember the game by. So one quick house note here is that if you're not familiar with Zoom, when you're in the middle of a question, or if you have a question regarding something that's brought up during the presentation, feel free to just hover your mouse over the screen, over the image, and you'll see that there is an opportunity there for the chat window. If you click in there and put your questions in, you can either put it only to the panelists, which would be myself, Patrick, and some others from WizKids who are on the line, or you can do all panelists and attendees, and then everyone will see it. So choose which one you want to talk to, who you want to address, and we'll take it from there. And without any further ado, I will hand the presentation over to Patrick and let him share some exciting news about what WizKids is doing.
Great, thanks. I appreciate it, Scott. First of all, if I wanted to introduce myself, my name is Patrick O'Hagan. I'm a lifelong RPG player, well, you know, since the age of 6, and recently joined WizKids. I'm a 3-month partner on WizKids. And I've been working with them over the last 2.5 years, kind of building and creating set lists and deciding on the product that we build together. I want to emphasize that my role is brand new, and really that goes back to understanding that RPG demand is at an all-time high, as Scott mentioned, as we all know. Things like Critical Role, things that are just the 5th edition and Pathfinder 2nd edition, and just the explosion of RPGs has really kind of created this excess of demand. And one of the things here at WizKids that we want to do is, well, not want to, that we are doing, is really kind of focusing in creating product that corresponds to that. And so you're going to see, now I'm going to talk to you about really cool things that we're doing, and I'm going to have a deck open very soon. But before that, I guess I want to just mention a couple of things. One, we know how popular the unpainted line is, specifically in your stores. And that unpainted line of miniatures for both D&D Nolzers as well as the Deep Cuts line, one of the things that you're going to see is much more attention to making sure we have in-stock availability of inventory, as well as just kind of continual monitor and maintaining of that, I would say, that whole category. Because one of the key things that we know is that what we've heard specifically for the unpainted line is that it's easy, it's inexpensive, it's exquisite, meaning the detail is amazing. And that, you know, there's right now around 300 different SKUs. We're going to increase that, while at the same time take a hard look at the ones that we want to deprecate, the ones that don't sell, the ones that are just, hey, maybe you can put that in a box instead. So think like, for instance, the Torture Chamber set that we just came out with. Those are great unpainted, but now that we have them out as an unpainted, maybe we put them in a box and we put them just painted. And so in our 4D line. So you're going to see a lot of things like that, and really just clear focus on helping you manage the wall that you have the unpainted line in. I think secondly, one of the things you're going to see is just an explosion of pre-painted. And so when I say explosion, I mean, you're going to see really cool things coming, like dragons. And when I say dragons, I'm talking about large dragons. You're going to see just really cool things that resonate with what we know about consumer demand, as well as just, hey, where are the dragons in this kind of set? So you're going to see a lot more of that. But one of the key things that I want to kick off, and I'm going to open up a PowerPoint and just go through this right now. So let me see. Scott, let me know if can you guys see the PowerPoint just fine?
Yeah, I can see it. I can see the deck of slides down on the column there. So there you go. Perfect.
There you go. Okay, cool. So let's just go through this. So who is WizKids? Well, again, I'm sure a lot of you guys know what WizKids are, but if you don't, we're a company that has been around for many years, and we team up with many different licensed products like D&D, like WWE, like Magic, like Marvel, like DC, We have large games ourselves like HeroClix. But today I'm talking about RPGs, and specifically with RPGs, I'm talking about one of the things I want to talk about is Warlock Tiles. We are very, very excited to kind of tell you about our Warlock Tiles. First and foremost, the key thing about Warlock Tiles is that they are high utility double-sided floors. And so one of the key things you'll see on this is that, and I'm going to try to go a little bit fast so I can have some time for questions, but you'll see that one of the things that we've learned is that the typical kind of tiles that are out there in the market today are available online that you can download as kind of a digital file, have one-sided. So one of the things that we decided to do was really focus our attention on creating a dual-sided. So each 2x2 tile, which is 2 inches by 2 inches on a game kind of focus, has a high utility double-sided floor, right? So one is very exquisite wood, the other is painted stone. The kind of key things that we also go into is that across the line, you're going to see that 4D, that kind of that you know, like engagement that we talk about with 4D come out very clearly with this. And that includes functioning doors that open and close. You're going to have this immersive experience where a lot of the things that you're doing and playing with, that the consumers are playing with, open, close, are engaged, they click in, they feel very, very much part of the kind of natural game experience. You can kind of see, again, it opens and closes. But also the things is that there's extraordinary attention to detail. You know, we went to large levels of, I would say, we've been working on this for probably the last 2 years to really make sure we launch this product the right way. And so you'll see that not only is there an extraordinary definition to detail, a lot of these things clip in, and these clip in a way that doesn't fight against space. And so you'll see the versatility of modular design, the kind of like key things like end caps. We have, in effect, interior walls so that they slot into spaces, so that these things slot into, so that you get, again, it doesn't take away the game style, our gameplay. One of the other things, and you kind of see this here as you kind of put this in, is they slot in between the tiles. But one of the things you'll also notice that the tiles themselves aren't actually being lost in, and I say the space. So if there's a 2x2 grid, the actual walls go on the outside. The interior door that I'm showing here on the slide right now, it actually slots in so that it's really thin. It's like it's a very thin interior wall that slots in between these tiles and these clips, so that enables the actual play to actually be focused on the game table, because that's really where we are. And so if you think about this, you'll also notice that these walls are half, right? So on the Warlock tiles, I'm not sure if you've seen them, but if you haven't, we're launching these with half walls by design, with all the intention, again, at that gameplay at the table. So you can kind of see it. We want you to bring your adventure to life, in effect, by bringing all these things. And so what you see here is just kind of like what it would look like with the doors and maybe a couple of accessories that we're going to talk about very soon to talk about Warlock tiles. But let's just talk about some SKUs, first of all. What's included? There are two large, I would say there are two kind of starter sets that we're talking about. The first is the basically $49.99 starter set that has 45 clips. I'm not going to read everything here, but it in effect has what you see here, and then there's the advanced tile set. But let's just show you, and then I'll go back to the actual cost. The entry set, or the kind of the starter set, has exactly what you see here. It's 16 base tiles, 2 doors, 4 edge caps. It has enough to really build out a framework for $50. So if you go back, I'm just going to go back and talk about the advanced starter. The advanced starter is more than double that, right? So for $99.99, you're getting basically more than double that. And I say this because one of the key things I want to focus on, this is the kind of advanced starter set. And this advanced starter set is $99. And it comes with all of this. You can kind of just see the level of gameplay that this has. It comes with all those doors. It comes with two 2x8s, kind of basically tiles. And one of the things we show here on this slide is that there's wood and stone. But remember, you flip it over and you have all stone. You flip it over, you have all wood. And that's one of the key things that we did by design, again, so that we enhance the gameplay of this. I think Scott mentioned this very clearly, but without a doubt, this is not a direct-to-consumer play. This is all being focused on and being the most attention for our friendly neighborhood game store, right? So if you think about this element, this is really being sold in through our distributors, only available through our distributors directly, and not available to kind of direct to consumer, which again, a lot of you can think of a lot of our competitors are doing a lot of. So it also works seamlessly with our existing SKUs. And so you'll probably have heard of our 4D. We just had the Castle Barracks came out a couple of weeks ago. We have Pulls and Pillars that came out a little while ago. But again, everything we want to do just plugs and plays with everything we're doing and creating for the game table. Your customers already buy miniatures. This is just that kind of natural extension that is priced right, affordable, and fantastic value. Because if you think about it, one of the things that we're constantly doing is looking at like, well, is our sequence of product the right sequence? Meaning, if I have everything that comes out in a month, I'm not sequencing that right for the retailer. So you're gonna see a lot of attention being paid to making sure that we actually sequence these in an appropriate, I would say, manner month over month over month, as well as with a value proposition that isn't 150 every single time. That is available and affordable. Now, we are going to have things that are going to be 150 or more, but those are going to be the kind of prime type elements. Those kind of like, we call them prime right now, but they're like super premium elements. But right now we're just talking about things like, for instance, some of the expansion. So when we launch the kind of starter and advanced starter, we know that we want to make sure that there are affordable things that attach onto these that enable you to immediately have gameplay. One of those that we have are the doors and archways. You can kind of see the doors and archways set here, and that know that all of every single door and every single thing opens. It's a removable translucent base. And so if you want to use this within the kind of Warlock tiles, fantastic. If you want to use it with any other open lock, dragon lock, dwarven forge, fantastic, right? We really want to make sure that you can plug and play a lot of these expansions onto any specific system. So that's the doors and archway set that retails right now for $40 or $39.99. And you can kind of see the SKU right there. The other thing that we're doing is we actually have a starter set for town and village, because as you imagine, the starter and advanced starter have wood, but everything else was stone. One of the things we thought, well, what if you want to build a town and you have like an inn or an apothecary or some other adventure you want at your game table? So we really expanded that to actually have a starter set for, again, $49.99 for town and village. And so you can get the starter set that's more dungeon focused, or you can get the starter set that's more town and village focused, or you can get the larger advanced one that has a little bit of both. But you can kind of see here just the sheer amount of product that's available for that $50 price tag. An additional one that we have is summoning circles. So again, you can kind of see summoning circles. These actually are going to light from underneath. So you're going to actually have a number of summoning circles that actually have an LED underneath it, so that shine through. So there's an arcane druid, demonic, holy circle, and ruling circle type element that, again, for these that are going to MSRP for $40, for $39.99. Again, you're going to see more. So again, at launch, we're going to have stairs and ladders, because what dungeon and slash environment would actually be clear without stairs and ladders? And so you're going to actually see stairs like we see in this wooden stairs that you can see here. You're going to see ladders. You're going to see elements. You can kind of see right here on this one, where I'm going to the next slide, but we can actually put in the actual the 28 millimeter grid or the 25 millimeter grid on our that comes with our miniatures, and they slot into the actual stairs. So you're actually going to see a lot of flexibility, a lot of functionality for that $40. But wait, I'm not done. I have more. Also at launch, we're going to have dungeon dressings. And so you can kind of think of treasure chests and pits and barrels and statues and, you know, beds and barrels that move. We have liquid and solids, right? Rubble. So again, all of these, if you think about it, start with the, you know, again, the starter we have, the advanced starter we have. I'm gonna stay on Warlock for the next couple of minutes. But if you think about it, the starter and the advanced starter plus the town and village starter come out together with 4 additional SKUs. And these SKUs all plug and play well together. And they plug and play in a way that we want to make sure that a consumer coming in is able to come and buy the starter. And if they want to actually add a dungeon dressing, they can. If they want to add something else, they can. So it really just helps that plug and play nature and the game table play. And I do want to say, this is a big launch for us. It's a big deal. There's lots and lots of excitement for this. I'm gonna stop sharing at least this so you can see my face when I talk about this. But that we are very, very excited about this. And I say we're excited because the cornerstone of this is that this is the start of a large category for us. You can imagine that in 3 to 4 months after this, we're going to have Dungeon Dressing 2. You can imagine that we'll have full walls. You can imagine lava and acid. You can imagine that we'll have caves. And so this kind of like big launch with 7 SKUs is a big foray into this. But in reality, this is going to be the start of a lot of different things. When is the expected release? Thank you for asking that. I was going to get to that. Thank you. I think it was from Tim. Tim, we are planning to launch this for May and being sold into June. I don't know. The cornerstone of this is that we want to launch this to support a number of different things coming on in the May-June timeframe, but that it should be available all by June. Now, I'm not going to go back to the deck because the deck is the deck, and I want to make sure that there's time for any questions. But the cornerstone of this is that even though we talk about this, and even though there's going to be a lot more, how do I say, Warlock Tile type expansions, this is just one foray of one category that we're going into. Another category that we're going into is specifically 2D miniatures. Now, I don't have any images to show you, but I will very soon have images to show you. We are working with D&D to really create kind of like, if you think about it, a segmented approach. And the segmented approach is a focused element of trying to understand if I'm a person who's a millennial and I'm 25, I'm still living with my parents, and I only have 20 bucks to spend, how much miniatures can I get for that? Well, you can get one of our box sets and get 4 minis. But what if I want to actually have more minis? And so one of the things that we're doing is really looking at kind of like demographics and behavioral shifts and trying to understand, well, maybe for $20, I can get 10 minis that are going to be 2D focused. Or maybe I'm going to again, do something else with that. So we're creating a whole segmented approach based on disposable income, based on a lot of different things, and teaming up with our best partners, like, of course, Wizards of the Coast and D&D, to really cornerstone and create value propositions so that your wall, if you think about it, has 2D minis that are affordable and exquisite. We're not actually just taking the art and flipping it. We're actually taking our 3D sculpts and creating a very much imaged focus, so you can actually see dimensions on that 2D in acrylic. Now we're still testing out what they look like, but more than likely they're going to be acrylic, like a keychain thickness that gives you that brightness and vivid focus of what you'd expect from WizKids products. At the same time, we're gonna see more 3D products and 3D miniatures. One of the things that was on the slide that I'm sure a lot of you are aware of is that we had more, I would say, pre-painted sets than we ever have this year, specifically with the next one coming up, which is the Mordenkainen's, the D&D set that comes out in December for holidays. So I just wanted to just kind of keep on just talking about that. But I don't know, Scott, Jessica, if you have any questions before maybe we open it up to the rest of the people.
Well, I have the advantage of having seen a lot of this stuff come through our system already. I think it's a fantastic, like you said, a value proposition for stores. This is very retailer friendly.
Yep.
Do you have plans now, looking farther down the line, towards like a science fiction kind of direction with it, or are you sticking primarily with fantasy as the opening gate and then launching in depending on how things go?
Yeah, you may have noticed that we launched the gas station, I want to say, in the past month. And the gas station was our kind of first foray into what we call 4D modern. We're looking at the gas station sales really well and closely to make sure that there is a viable market for that. But we definitely believe there, and we have many things ready to go after the gas station if the gas station is successful. So very much so. One of the things that you may have heard is the Starfinder minis, that we are producing with Paizo Starfinder minis. That's going to be, we're coming out with 2 blisters sometime next year. I don't have the exact date yet, but we will be having Starfinder minis, and those Starfinder minis can be played with Starfinder or played with any kind of sci-fi based element that you have. But for sure, we are looking at multiple different avenues to see what the market is for kind of modern / non-fantasy kind of figures and accessories. And we're stepping into that a little bit at a time, and just making sure that the market is there.
Great, excellent.
Any other questions that you or Jessica have? Because if not, the cornerstone of where we're going, and I just want to be very, very honest with you guys, is we are very cognizant, and I go into so many different game stores. I'm probably in game stores more often than any other store, maybe except for grocery stores. But we're very cognizant of the wall that you have dedicated for kind of WizKids products. And like I said, imagine a time where you come in and your wall has 2D minis that are not blind, but that I know what I'm buying, because we know millennials don't like that blind experience of that kind of booster box. So they're going to get what they're going to get something where they can pick up and know that they're getting these minis. And then as you scale over, you're going to have unpainted miniatures, which again are exactly what you're getting. The next one over is our premium pre-painted. You may have known that we released our first wave of those, I want to say a couple months ago, came out with 5 miniatures, and that's like 2 tieflings, another miniature, but we're expanding on those. Our wave 2 is being built now. Wave 3 is already approved. And so what those are going to be $8 MSRP, $7.99 MSRP figures. These figures are exquisitely they're painted to the nth degree that allow me to actually pick and choose off the wall. I'm playing a human fighter. Oh, I have 3 choices for human fighter. Now, you can do that with UPM and paint them or collect them, or you can do that with the premium pre-painted. But again, it goes back to, we're going to create this segmented experience in the store that allows customers to come and pick and choose. Hey, I want 2D minis. Hey, I want unpainted. Hey, I really want to buy that painted because this is my exact mini, right? So they're going to do that, as well as to have things like if you think about it, to have things like the blind boosters that we already have, like the Mordenkainens, like the Avernus set that just came out. We have a lot more coming on those. And you can imagine, like I said, dragons that are coming, and just more and more. One of the things that we could have showed you is that we are building a tower right now and a stone bridge. And you imagine, if you can imagine the kind of level of terrain that is coming, I want to be honest with you that we are imagining the same thing, and we want to make sure we build it in the right ways. And thinking about that, the ship, the kind of the sailing ship that we came out, I can't remember the name of it off the top of my mind right now. It's funny. The Falling Star. Thank you. Jeez. The Falling Star. When we created that, I want to be honest with you, we didn't realize the demand was going to be as big as it really was. And so the next reprint of that is actually going to have a window and have really more retail boxes. So instead of getting a box that is kind of brown, because we didn't, we thought maybe that people would like it, but we didn't really realize that they'd like it that much. That the next wave of those are going to be both painted and unpainted, going to have a window so you can actually look into it. It's going to have a retail box that has a price and a SKU, so you can actually see and put it on your floor, so that you can actually have that with the rest of your D&D products. You can imagine a lot more things like that are coming. I don't know, I'll leave it for questions, or if there's any more in the chat window. I'm looking at the chat window. I don't see any more.
Yeah, now is a great opportunity to ask those questions that I'm sure you have about the Warlock tiles, and also about the upcoming Icons of the Realm miniatures or Pathfinder.
Yep.
Miniatures.
4D, all of the things.
A couple minutes.
Yeah, we have 3 minutes, I think, or 2 now. I do want to say that for the Warlock tiles, you can those are available now to purchase and order. I say purchase, to order, not purchase. We're coming out in June, but they're available now. We solicited them, all the accessories last Friday. The 2 kind of the starter and advanced starter were solicited a couple more weeks ago. But again, all of the things I just mentioned, are available to, and the tiles are available to order now.
I know in GTS we definitely have the advanced and starter set in there, but I think that we're still waiting on the accessories, if I recall.
Okay.
I haven't seen those come across yet, so maybe maybe those are up on your website, and I can pull those down and make sure that they're in the system later today.
They very much are, and I'll make sure. I mean, Sarah, we solicited on Friday, so they're available on our website so that we can put them in. Yeah.
Yep.
All right. Is there any other questions? Just I want to leave this with, there are so many things that are coming, and it's really, like I said tonight when I started, we are looking at the demand in the RPG space, and we're basically saying, you know what, we can fill that up with better, more affordable value propositions that make your consumers and you happy. Believe me. So more to come. Believe me, more to come.
There's a couple of questions that come in. Tim asks, what steps are you taking to help with restock? We have found it hard to get much of the line steadily.
Yeah, Tim, thank you for that question. And then I'll look at the William. So what steps? We just keep on being flabbergasted at the demand of the unpainted line. Specifically, I think, Tim, if that's what you're talking about on the unpainted line of nozzles, nozzers, and deep cuts, we're taking a very hard look at reprint schedules and reprinting much more often. It's just, we can't keep them in stock. We think demand is X and it's 10% more, 20% more. And we keep on adding more and more, Tim. And so one of the key things, like Beholder, you know, we are ordering, we ordered more on our last reprint of Beholder than we had in the entire world, and that's already sold out. So we ordered that same amount for the next reprint. But I can tell you, Tim, that we are focusing so much on making sure that you know, having the painted out of stock once in a while is an okay thing for us, meaning we don't want it to be out, but it creates a little bit of demand. But I can tell you, we don't want any of the unpainted to be out, and we're working really fast and furious to make that happen. So William asks, other than D&D licenses in the future, such as upcoming Transformers, yeah. One of the things that you probably have heard about is that we have Transformers coming out that are unpainted Transformers. We also have, I'm really excited about My Little Pony. And it's funny, I was like, why are we doing My Little Pony? It's a great brand. It's a great product, but it's kind of like, when you see these unpainted My Little Ponies that come with stickers, it immediately goes to like bringing people in, bringing that kind of age group that loves My Little Ponies in to paint them, because they're really beautiful sculpts and really beautiful minis. So yeah, G.I. Joe, Transformers, and My Little Pony are our first foray. You're going to see things like unpainted HeroClix. So you're already seeing the unpainted deep cuts line in the HeroClix, and so that people can paint Marvel and DC and other miniatures the way they want. And the paint and take was amazing. So I'm sure Sarah would love to hear that.
I do. That was just messaging you, Tim. Thank you so much. In fact, if anybody who's ran Paint and Take would like to send me any feedback, please do at sarahj@WizKids.com. I'll put it in the comments.
So Aaron asks, are there future plans for more of the trophies? And are there plans to restock the current ones?
That would be the dragon trophies.
The dragon. Oh, you mean the heads?
The big dragon.
Sorry, yes. I was like, trophies. What trophies? Yes. Dragon Mind Flayer. Yeah, Beholder. Yes. There are plans to restock. We are reprinting them now. There also are more coming, and you'll see. I can tell you about one that's really kind of cool and exciting. I won't tell you that the next trophy, but I can tell you that one of the next big ones we're doing specifically in that space is a hand and eye of Vecna, right? So again, it goes back to imagine things like that. So you have that in a kind of jar that you can see the hand, and it has an eye in the middle of the hand. So things like that are definitely coming. Scott, did I lose you guys?
No, we're still here.
Okay. Sorry. And then finally, Tim asks, with the Fantasy Flight, the new Marvel miniature game coming, will this affect your production of HeroClix? You know, I'm not a HeroClix expert, but I can tell you that it won't. You know, HeroClix is on an upsurging kind of tick, as you probably have heard or seen. the Fantasy Flight games, they're beautiful miniatures, obviously, but again, it goes back to price point is a little bit different than what we'd expect. And so our deep cut unpainted line and the gameplay we have for HeroClix should really continue our focus. We don't see any changes in our HeroClix kind of line.
All right, excellent.
All right. Yeah.
That appears to be it for questions, and we're about at the time limit that we wanted to keep. So I will go ahead and say if there's any last things that Patrick you'd like to share, or feel free.
Yeah. We definitely hear the retailers loud and clear on the unpainted line and making sure there's enough to sell. That's first and foremost what I want to leave you with. The Warlock Dungeon tiles are going to be a big launch. It is. There's so much demand right now. There's so much. We're in the middle of determining our print runs now. So I can say when the accessories get online and you can order them. And if you haven't already ordered the kind of starter and advanced starter, I would go in and do that now, just because again it goes back to we think we're going to have this much demand, but what we have seen time and time again is that oftentimes that isn't enough. So I would say put your orders in early for that kind of June release.
Great. All right. Keep up the great work. We will continue to make room on our wall. Thank you for your time.
Thanks,
Tim.
Tim.
That's great. So with that, just a reminder, this video is being recorded. It will be on YouTube probably later today or tomorrow at the latest, so you can always recap it. I'll just introduce myself again. I'm Scott Bohr, Category Manager for Gaming Specialty Items here at GTS. That includes role-playing games, miniature games, and gaming accessories like dice and other fun stuff that you bring to the table. So hearing this presentation about a retailer-focused, miniatures-oriented RPG is just a big intersection of everything that I'm doing here at GTS, and I'm very excited about the opportunity to work with WhizKids, very important partner in those three categories, and also in our board game side. So we're thrilled about it. Patrick, thank you for your time. Our retailer friends, thank you very much for your time, and we look forward to hearing from you. We'll be please feel free to email myself if you have any questions about what we talked about today. We'd be happy to help you out, and contact your GTS sales rep to go ahead and get pre-ordered for the products that we talked about today. Thanks very much for your time. Have a great rest of your day and a great week.
Yeah, cheers.
Thanks.
Bye.